I'm going to be covering some of the different dim types in AutoCAD. This is very handy information to know, especially as a beginner within AutoCAD, because these different types of dims, they affect the values that you get when measuring an object. So all of the dim types can be accessed within the Annotate tab and then the Dimensions column. And if you select this drop down here, all of the different dim types you have here. Alternatively, you can access it through the shortcut. This is by typing dim, and then as you can see here, it's got different dim types. So you would type dim to start with, and then depending on the type of dim that you want, you would type the first letters of that type. So for example, I'll type LI, and we've got linear. So dim linear, which is a type of dim. Or you can type dim ARC, which is dim arc. I mean, this is a different type of dim also. So the first one I'm going to be starting with is dim linear here. Or alternatively, you could just click it through the options here and click dim linear. I've now activated this dim linear, and as you can see, the first thing it asks you to do is effectively select a line or object. So basically what it is asking you for is points so it can get the distance effectively. So I'm going to click my endpoint here of my object, and I'm also going to click my other endpoint here on the other side, and as you can see, a dim's been created between these 2 points. I'm going to drag my dim upwards, and then lastly I'm going to click, and that places my dim, as you can see here. Now I'm going to click into my dim, and as you can see, it's got text in there which can be edited. And I'm going to go to dim style. I'm just going to change it to 3.5, making my text bigger. So as you can see here, if I click my dim, I have my dim from this endpoint here to this endpoint here. So this dim linear is kind of like a straightforward dim from one point to another. Now this is similar for dim align also, but the difference between these two is when measuring on an angle. So I'm going to show you the difference on this point here. As you can see, it's at an angle, it's not straight. So first I'm going to use dim aligned. As you see, it's asking me to select a point. I'm going to select my endpoint here and my endpoint here also. And as you can see, this is different from the first dim that we used, because it's almost aligned itself to the line that I'm trying to get my measurement from. And this is what the dim align does. It gives you a true distance between 2 points and the line itself up to the line you're trying to measure. So as you can see here, we're getting a distance of 318.68. And now alternatively, I'm going to try use a dim linear like the first one we used up here. So dim linear, select from options. I'm going to select this endpoint and this endpoint also. As I bring my mouse along, click, change the size of my text, make it easier to read. There's a difference in value, and this is because the dim align aligns to this line here, so we're getting a true distance, whereas this dim linear is a simple from A to B. It's not taking into account the fact that it's on an angle. It's just from A to B. So from high to low effectively. And this is the difference between the dim align, as we can see here, get true distance that references the dimensions that you're trying to get. And we have a dim linear here, which is just from A to B, as we can see here. So now I'm going to delete this dim, just keep the dim line. Now I'm going to put some dims here on the bottom, and I'm going to use dim linear, selecting my endpoint here. As you can see, I've got my dimension here, and if I was to click this dim here and hover my mouse over this point here, you can see it's got continue dim. And what this does, if I click option, it continues from where I left off with my last point within my dim. So I can continue from this point here, getting a measurement, to this next point here. And I can continue going. And I can select here as well also. So it makes the process of placing dims on object much quicker by using that dim continue option. And when I'm done like now, where there's nothing more for me to dimension, I can just press escape. And as you can see, now I have 3 dims. You can also access the dim continue by typing on your keyboard dim. As you can see here, you've got dim continue here. That's another way of using that dim continue also. Now I'm going to get a dim of this angle, and for that we're going to need a different type of dim. So I'm going to type dim, type A, and as you can see we have dim angular. So this reads an angle between objects and points and so forth. So I'm going to click this option, and as you can see, the first thing it asks for is an arc, circle, line, or points effectively. So what we're going to do is we're going to select this line here, and then we're going to select the second line. So depending on what you've selected, whether it's an object, it's going to ask you to select the second part of it. Click here, and as you can see, it's giving me degrees of 70. And now the last click with my mouse is going to be where to place my dim. For example, I can place it all the way up here if I wanted to, down here. For me, this degree is here, so I'm just going to place it around here. As we see, that's given us a dim also. Now, a couple more dims as well. So we've got to this point here is dims in regards to arcs and circles. Go to our dim types here. As you can see, we have arc length. This is the length of an arc effectively. So I'm going to click this option here. And as you can see, it says select arc or polyline arc segment. So in my case, I'm going to click this polyline that I created here. And as you can see, it gives me the length of my arc. And as you can see, in my case, it is 73.83. I'm going to click to place my dim, and as you can see, it's given me the length of my polyline, as you can see here. And you can actually see within the description of this polyline that is correct here. We have our polyline length, and it matches up with my dim. So that is the arc length dim. I'm going to go to another type of dim, and this is going to be dim radius. And this is obviously in regards to arcs or circles. As you can see, I've got a circle here, so I'm going to select. As you can see here, it's done a line in the middle, but as you can see on the end of this line, it has got my radius. So now last it's going to be to place my dim, place it here, and as you can see, it's got a radius of 235. And I'm going to do the same for dim diameter. Also, I'm going to select. As you can see here, also once I click, it's giving me measurement. It's just asking me for where I'm going to place it effectively. So for me, I'm going to place it upwards like this. Let's do this one. And as we can see, we have a diameter of 470. That's how that type of dim works. So your dim radius and your dim diameter. So basically it's just asking you to select a circle or arc, and then all you have to do is click to place your dim. So as you can see, it's relatively straightforward. One tip that I would bear in mind is when using dims, especially ones that you don't use that often, is read your command line here. So it always gives you a prompt of what to do, and it gives you a heads up whether it's selecting an object, selecting a point, it will be made known to you. So the main thing is just to read your command line and get grips of what AutoCAD needs to act out the command effectively. Please let me know in the comment section down below of any CAD related topics you want me to cover moving forward.